What up? I'm Josh Paulison, and welcome to Your Story Now. So when we look at our story, this is pretty cool. We've got this overall drive and direction, but what if we really want to make sure that the main character is terrified about the villain, or that the villain really is coming against them in this way? What if we want to come up with a situation where the main character ends up feeling horrible about themselves? You might remember that we discussed the emotion technique, where you would attach an emotion to an idea. So here's the thing. We need to start with feeling horrible about themselves. So we're starting essentially with horrible feelings, but that needs to be tied into something. We could tie that into dragon riding. We could tie that into perhaps a battle. It depends on why they're dragon riding. That's not something we've decided. Maybe they dragon ride for fun, or maybe it's for war. We don't know yet. This is all very open. But regardless, we want to attach the emotion of, you could say anxiety, feeling horrible, you could say feeling like a failure, you could say despondency, whatever word you want to use for the emotion. We need to tie that in to an event. So let's end up going back here. So we want to have these emotions. So let's look at this. So, okay, we've got all these pieces with strong anxieties. We've got fantasy, we've got dragons. So let's attach an emotion, let's say to dragons. So that is despondency. Or we could say anxiety. We could say fear. So what are we going to do with dragons and fear? I spelled that wrong. What are we going to say with dragons and fear? Well, it could be terrifying dragon. It could be deadly dragon. It could be hostile dragon. So what we have just gotten here is an emotion that we are tying in. So now we have an opportunity to go back to our story concept. So we said, okay, well, they overcome their feelings of being a failure. They're a dragon rider. Villain comes against them, berating them. So we've got a good opportunity here, because if a villain comes against the main character berating them, and they end up feeling horrible about themselves, maybe the main character tries to prove themselves by overcoming a... Which one do we want? We want to tie in an emotion for the main character. Terrifying dragon, deadly dragon, hostile dragon. Let's go with hostile dragon. So they try to overcome a hostile dragon. And by overcome, this could be taming, whatever. They try to prove themselves by taming a hostile dragon. Okay, so what we have just done is that we have given a reason for them to end up feeling horrible about themselves. We have said, okay, here's the emotion that the main character needs to feel. What can we tie into that? What does that make us think of? And then, of course, the way to really tie this all up is blank fails to tame the dragon. And this could go in all sorts of directions. It could be that the dragon destroys the area. It could be that the dragon the main character just looks stupid because they tried and they failed so badly. But going with something tied into their emotion gave us a way to figure out, well, what would the main character feel? What would take them there? And then allowed us to figure out a way to continue developing out the story, to bring the character from A to B. So the emotion technique can be really handy for saying, I want my character to feel a certain way. I want them to go through a certain emotional experience. How do I get them there? Tie in an emotion and consider things that ties into for you. Now, I have to add, some characters will not be afraid of a hostile dragon, a deadly dragon, or a terrifying dragon. Who your character is certainly plays an essential role in this. And it might be that all of these things about what's scary will be very unrelatable to most people for your character. Maybe your character is afraid of mice, which I guess a lot of people could be, but maybe your character is afraid of puppies. That's something that is good to know, because your character then has their personal reaction. But for the sake of brainstorming in this case, we're going to say that the main character is terrified of this hostile dragon, and as a result, they end up trying to tame that hostile dragon. They fail, and that's why they end up feeling horrible about themselves. We consider what emotion they need to have rise up inside of them, and perhaps what we would relate with as well, though that's not essential. And then we consider how that ties into their development. They try to tame a hostile dragon, which to us seems like it would definitely develop anxiety and fear and feeling horrible about yourself, and they fail to tame the dragon.